Thank you. Thank you for having me, Karina. It's great to see you again. I drove up because I think that you all have a special thing going on right here, and I wanted to be part of it. Unfortunately, it took me this long to come through. We've been trying to plan this for at least 6 months, and the drive for me is brutal. I know it's 3 hours, but traffic getting out of Miami is ridiculous. It was bumper to bumper at 3 p.m. When I was trying to get the heck out of there. So anyway, make a long story short, a little bit about me, and then we'll go into different things, two different things, J6, and I'm going to touch up a little bit on that Islamophobia thing that they got going on. That, you know, they want to basically propagate throughout the world. My name is Ozzy Perez. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. I served 5 years in the Marine Corps. I ended up doing 3 tours in Iraq. I did the invasion in 2003, 2004, and then Fallujah, 04, 05, and then Haditha, 05, 06. A little bit of backstory of how I got there. So I signed up the day after 9/11, but the inkling was always there. My father, he suffered 12 years in a Cuban prison. He was a plantado, and we'll go into that after the fact, because I want you guys to see a movie so that you guys get acclimatized as to what it is that's happening 90 miles south of Florida here. So my dad spent 12 days in a Cuban prison. 12 years in a Cuban prison. He spent 14 days with water and food for 3 or 4 days between him and 3 of his friends. They jumped a fence at Gitmo. They crossed the minefield. They almost got blown up while doing that. And basically, the first American my dad meets, once he finally finished jumping the 6th fence, because there's 6 fences to actually get into the United States side, was a Marine. And so that was the backdrop of when I made my decision to join what force I was going to join. My mom spent 6 years in a Cuban prison as well. My aunt spent 9, my other aunt spent 8, my other aunt spent 6. All these prisoners of conscience that just because they either worked against the future government or just had a different opinion as to the communist government, they decided to put in prison. My dad actively fought against Batista, and then when he saw what was happening with Fidel, he started fighting Fidel, all right? So, but anyway, a brief backstory as to me and how I got to the Marine Corps. I run 2 veteran organizations down there in Miami, and it's in me, it's part of my DNA that I'm a patriot. I love this country. They gave me so much through my parents. They gave the biggest gift that you could ever get, which is freedom. And so I also bring greetings from President Donald J. Trump. No, like really, I bring you greetings. Look at my shirt. Nonetheless, he won 3 elections. And getting to this problem about J6ers, right? I have a few friends that are January 6 political prisoners, and so I'm tying all that into what was happening in Cuba way back when, and it's still happening today. But we've had political prisoners here in this country, and a lot of people don't even realize that we've had that, right? J6ers were political prisoners because they were arrested for what their beliefs politically was. So there were prisoners of conscience in this country, something that I would have never imagined could possibly come out here in this country. I saw it through my parents and their stories, but I never even fathomed that was possible. And then I was, on this side of the jail cell, trying to help a lot of the guys and gals that were inside. To this day, there's still 4 that are in prison. There's J6ers that are in prison. There's 6 so far that have committed suicide. Okay. There's some that they got their sentence commuted, but they never got pardoned.
12 that are commuted,
Okay.
and they're pardoned yet. They're not pardoned yet.
So that becomes a problem. But I want to bring you stories directly from the J6ers and what they're going through right now and how they end up committing suicide, right? Because at the end of the day, they got pardoned. Oh my gosh, they got pardoned. And yes, that got them out of jail. That got them out of trouble legally, right? It only took, 4 years. But nonetheless, these guys and gals right now, they're struggling to find a job because you can't lie on a job application because then it's going to come back to you. And one of the questions on any job application, doesn't matter what it is have you ever been in jail, right? And they have to answer yes, even though they were pardoned. Because as soon as they Google them, everything will come out, right? So they have to put it on there. And then that leads into several other conversations with that employer, and that employer at the end of the day tells them, thank you, but, no thanks. And that's the reality of what J6ers are living right now. You have J6ers that have gone and tried to open up a business. And some businesses, a lot of them, require licenses, right? For a childcare business, for a security company business. And guess what one of those questions is? Have you ever been in jail, right? And so they're finding it hard to not only open businesses and get jobs, to get loans. A lot of these J6ers have been canceled. I got canceled by Facebook and Instagram, and that's low on the totem pole compared to what these guys and these gals have been canceled for. I have a friend that had a Turo business. Anybody know what Turo is? Turo, it's like the alternative to Hertz, but it's peer-to-peer. So I rent a car from you, and then, that takes out the, big company name, and it's just a one-to-one. So that's Turo, that's an application. He got canceled from that, and he had, been doing that type of business for a good 2 years. And they found out that he's a J6er, and he needed to make a living, right? And so they canceled him, and they pretty much shut down his business. And what did he do, with all these loans? Now he had to scramble to sell cars and this, that, and the other, because he had an investment made, and all of a sudden, that investment was zero, zilch. So there's another example where another J6er, he owned a few properties. He was on, what's that app called for renting properties? Airbnb, thank you. Mental gap. And so all of a sudden, they find out that he's a J6er, boom, they lock his account, and now he can't rent. He can't even see somebody that's coming next month, who it is or how much they paid, and it was already done too. So he couldn't even do a runaround and have his wife or his fiance or whatever, go ahead and put an account under their name and transfer it or whatever. He couldn't even get that done. Okay, so these are the realities that are happening right now to J6ers that is not being spoken upon. And yes, the pardon was great, and yes, they're waiting for a settlement from the Department of Justice. Who here is for them getting a settlement from the Department of Justice? I am, and I'm just scratching the surface as to the things that have happened to these J6ers, and it is ridiculous that we even had them in that position. And the Department of Justice was complicit.
Nancy
Pelosi and a lot of others.
Yeah, well, she was the top dog.
Okay. Why is it that this guy that killed Ashley Babbitt, why is he not in cuffs? Why? Because they're being protected by this shadow government that has been working and behind the scenes tugging the strings for decades. Okay?
Why is
And
Byron Donalds running for governor when he thinks they should be in jail? He thought they should have been in jail.
I don't know. Next time I see him, I'll ask him. But nonetheless, what I'm trying to get at is that there needs to be a big spotlight. A big spotlight put on all these issues that J6ers are going through, because it's not spoken. It's within their community, don't get me wrong. They're all sharing the same things back and forth, right? But it's not getting out. And so I need all of you, I'll employ all of you, not just to get the word out, but to immerse yourself in the things that are happening out there, that these patriots, you know, didn't deserve what they got. They got a raw deal, you know, and it was a setup, you know, from the get. Like the FBI lost track of how many paid informants they had on the ground, and they ended up having to do an audit to figure that out. Okay, it's like you can't make this stuff up. It's crazy, insane, you know. And listen, I thank God that I wasn't there. I was there November and December, and I missed January because I had to work. And you know, God protects the innocent. And I had no idea that none of that was going to happen. Nobody did, right? But I wasn't there. Oh, of course, it was unplanned.
They did.
And so God protected me, and I didn't end up going. But then I saw myself turn around and having to bail out a friend of mine. You know, he spent 3 days in prison here in Miami because it was a long weekend and they couldn't get, you know, themselves out of their way to get this guy out. And the bail was paid and everything was done and all paperwork was done. And they still left him in solitary for 3 days with no medicine, no nothing. You know, and that's just nothing. And compared to the gulag in DC, that's nothing. I was there the day that all these prisoners were supposed to come out, and they kept them there another day and another day, and the pardon had already been signed. And so these are the ridiculous gymnastics that we've been playing against these fools forever. I'll leave you with one last thing. Does anybody know how many books are in the Quran?
How many books are
No,
there?
there's 66 in the Bible.
But I'm talking about the Quran real quick because I'm following up on what she was saying.
Who cares?
There's 7. Well, it is important. Remember, Sun Tzu says that you need to know your enemy so that you can defeat them.
Or a Shih Tzu.
So it's very important, right?
Yeah.
There's 7 books.
Shih
Okay.
Tzu was a pussy.
So there's 7 books. These 2 books are the ones that 99% of the Islam population reads. These 2, right? Then there's these other 5. These other 5 are the fundamentalist books. This is the ones that the people like Osama bin Laden and all them read. They're the hardcore books, okay? But forget these for one second. Just in these 2 alone, it already tells you that you're either Muslim, you convert, or you die, like he was saying earlier, right? So what can we imagine that are in the other 5 books if these are already telling you that, right? And I'll just leave that for you for food for thought. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.